let them know, like, I'm a Christian life coach, and I coach on spiritual growth, physical wellness, and also self-love, which helps raise mental awareness. And I let them know that you were going to go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Hello, everybody. Should I wait for a little
No,
bit?
go ahead, girl.
Hey, everybody. I'm DeeJanay Makey. I am a self-empowerment and relationship life coach. I am certified and I work with paying clients, and I lend a helping hand wherever I can. Hi, Nicola.
Yeah, so we're just letting everybody flow in, and you guys feel free, my followers feel free to follow her as well. Okay, and tonight the big topic is self-love. I think that's really big nowadays and really needs to be a topic that we really need to speak about for men and women. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into it.
Okay.
So, so for starters, I want to just go just a little bit into details about my background as far as dealing with self-love. I've been on my self-love journey for about 2.5 years now, and it's been a journey. And just with my self-love journey, I've been learning a lot about myself, learning how to love myself. I'm very spiritual. I love God, Christ filled. I've allowed God to love me and fill me with his love and teach me what love is. Because I always tell everyone, which everyone always thinks is crazy, but I always say, I've never been in love before until I met the love of Christ. And he was my first love. So in my journey, I've even gone through like the self-abstinence, the self-worth, the growth, and just kind of being consecrated with God and being by myself, not dating. So it's been for about 2.5 years. I haven't dated as well. So that all kind of comes into play and works together to kind of help you learn what self-love is and learning about yourself, and also learning what your identity is and who your identity is in. So I've learned a lot about who Roya is, what Roya likes, what she doesn't like, dealing with, any kind of demons that I had to deal with as far as, attitude, anger, or feeling insecure about certain things about myself that God had to basically show me. Because when you come to Christ, when you're consecrated with him, he'll show you who you are in the mirror. And you're going to see all your flaws. You're going to see all your issues. But God is going to allow you to work on all those things with him, especially if you guys are trying to, partner with someone or be in a intimate relationship with someone else. So that's why it's always good for us to work on ourselves and for us to be whole and allow God to work on us, as individuals. But go ahead. I don't want to take all the
No,
time. Go ahead.
I absolutely agree. Very similar, as we spoke about. I was married I got in the relationship I was in where I got married and had kids at 18. 2 months after I turned 18, I met the man who would be my husband. And he was my husband until I was 30. And we had 3 kids and we did life. And I didn't realize how much I was missing from self until we separated. And we didn't have a messy separation or a bad breakup, but there would just be so much time in the day where I guess that he filled that it was just me now, and I was alone with my thoughts, and I had so much time to think and get to know myself. And being that I was in a relationship my whole adult life, I thought, you know, shop around. You know what I mean? When I was ready to date, and I was just ready to date the way I thought people dated. I had one relationship where I shared my body, and it just wasn't who I was. It just wasn't for me. And being that I was on this ladder of self-love and self-discovery, it just kind of was noisy for me. Like, if I had to describe it one way, it just was in the way, the physical, sharing myself physically. And just because I had work to do, I had to take the time out to get to know myself after my journey and as who I was, because I started my relationship so young and I never was alone. And I needed my alone time. I needed to get to know myself and who I was in my womanhood and as a mother and on my journey. And I learned I didn't know what self-love was because I was just doing life. And there was no room. I didn't have it to give. So I took my time. And, somewhere along the journey, I did my work and my research and my homework, and I really discovered I wanted to share what I learned about me with others. And I started, getting on my life coach journey. And it was always self-empowerment and relationships for me.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I love that you brought that up about your journey and how you've been in a relationship your whole entire life and you really didn't get to experience, that self wholeness without another person. You kind of had to learn as you were growing in that situation, and then how you were honest about that. Like, hey, I just needed to get to know me. I just needed time to myself. And it's funny because mine is the exact opposite. Mine was in and out of relationships throughout college, and sharing my body with men, and not really learning how to consecrate and love on myself. And and this is just for me, I don't know about anyone else, but as I was sharing myself with other men in and out of these relationships, they were taking pieces of me, pieces that I could have kept for myself and worked on myself and got to know myself. And then I ended up in a marriage, which a lot of people don't know. It was very short lived, but it was very quick. Graduating from college, jumping into the whole spiritual walk, learning how to be a Christian, being a babe in Christ. And, churches are really big on, relationships and marriage. And so I got married really quick, to a man I barely even knew, but I thought I was doing the right thing, but I knew deep down I wasn't. So being in that marriage, and then as quick as it came together, that's as quick as it fell apart. And I was broken after that, and I had to allow God to put me back together. So then I had to, in that situation, and then make a deal with God, like, God, okay, God's like, are you finished? Are you done? And I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I'm gonna allow you to put the broken pieces of me back together, build me up, my most holiest faith. Teach me how to love you. Teach me what your love is. I want to learn how to love unconditionally and not love with conditions. If he treats me this way, I'll treat him this way. But also that also comes with, we sometimes love ourselves with conditions. Maybe if I'm slimmer in the ways, I might look at myself and think I'm prettier, or I might feel more secure with myself. Or if I just make sure I do this for myself, maybe, I'll love myself a little bit more. But we need to learn how to love ourselves right where we're at. Because that's what God
that
does.
is the definition of self-love, and a lot of people don't know it because it's trending and people say it and they don't realize what they're saying. It is the basic necessity of loving oneself, of being into yourself. It's a necessity. And we think it's this selfish thing, or we think, like I said, it's this trending thing to do. We think a bubble bath, a glass of wine, and a pedicure is self-love. Now that's pampering yourself, which is a part of doing your due diligence, but self-love is how you feel about you.
Right.
When you do those things, it's because you're deserving of them, and it's not to treat yourself. It's because you deserve them, because you are, you stand in your conviction of what you deserve, because you're not just practicing self-love anymore, you love yourself.
Right.
This is a different thing. And just because, you hear something over and over and over again, and I love that women are repeating self-love, self-love, self-love. It's the self-love for me, but I'm gonna need us to do a little bit better and know exactly what it is. So it's not this constant practice.
Right. We gotta
of,
somehow learn, get some wisdom from it. Don't totally master it, but get some kind of things from it that we can. Oh, hey, how you doing, Blue? Yes, and my biggest thing, and I know I just want to drive this one home, because I am going to teach a course on it soon called Joy of Abstinence. So, and this is not just for women, it's for men too, because we dread abstaining from the things our flesh wants, in particular sex. A lot of people, especially a lot of singles, they're like, I got needs, they need to be met. But we have a lot of internal needs that need to be met before you ever think these external needs, like, hey, my flesh, my body needs to be touched. I need to lay with someone. I need a partner. I need a companion. I want to cuddle with someone. Right now, everyone's saying it's cuddle buddy season. Get you somebody. If you ain't got somebody, you better get somebody, But a lot of times we miss what the importance is in being single. And it's beautiful to be single because you learn so much about yourself, learning how to comfort yourself. You don't have to go to another human being to get that comfort. And that's what a lot of us do. And that's how a lot of people will stay in, a lot of times, toxic relationships, because they're codependent on one another, because they love that fleshly attachment. I love that companionship and that close touch that I need. Even when I, yeah, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a distraction from what's really going on.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. That that need, that urge, that itch you're trying to scratch.
Mm-hmm.
In getting that, what are you giving up?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because, and I know you said you want to teach this, you know, for men and women, but for women, we are nurturers, you know, we're caregivers. Regardless of what we're receiving from, you know, our sexual encounters, just to scratch that itch, we're leaving something behind too. And if it's
Right. Okay.
behind, like, what did you give up to get that momentary instant gratification? And
Right.
you know, we don't think about that in the moment because we think it's human. You know, we think about, you know, it's human to want to be with someone else. It's human to want to be touched. You know, God made us in pairs, and, you know, all the things that, you know, we tell ourselves to make it okay. And it's not that it's not okay, but have all the information.
Right.
What are you giving up? What are you, you know, to receive this pleasure and this moment of time, and this is not the one who is the one for you, who can pour back into you.
Right.
What did you just leave on the nightstand?
Right. And a lot of times what we do is, because we don't know what self-love is and we don't value ourselves, we're willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to get that temporary fulfillment. And
Yeah.
that's why self-love is so big, because we're willing to put that on the line no matter what. And I've said this before, that person that you attach yourself with, you know, God forbid if they leave and they take whoever you thought you were with them, and then they leave, then you feel empty, because the only reason you feel empty is because you've been pouring into this cup that obviously has a hole at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's not fulfilling you. It's not reciprocation. It's not coming back to you. And you think you're getting something out of it because you get 15 to 20 minutes of pleasure, and then you go back to feeling the same exact way you felt before you did what you did.
And that's the repercussions of not doing the work. Because even if you find your soulmate in this life, you know, bless you, bless your union, no one could give you what you're meant to give yourself.
Right.
You know, like, there's no, you know, other half to you to make you whole. Be a
Mm-hmm.
whole person. Be a complete person. So you're giving them your absolute best and expect the same in return. The expectation of someone giving you what you don't have is
Right.
they're always gonna come up short. It's never gonna be enough.
Right. And the thing is, I love this self abstinence journey, because, and you know, you'll have hiccups here and there. You're not going to be perfect at it, but you will get better. And the thing is, we have to work on this big word is called patience. It's something a lot of us don't have, and we struggle with it. You need patience. You know, if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm gonna love myself more, I'm gonna protect my body, I'm not gonna give it away no more, just know that you might fall again. God says a man falls 7 times. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, whether it be the full sex going all the way or something you got intertwined with, you know, partially. But it can still happen.
Let me ask you, what is abstinence in its
For
complete?
me, abstinence is abstaining from something for a temporary amount of time. Versus I'm thinking celibacy is more like long term, not being exposed to anything. Abstinence is just like, I think that's really good start for those that have been in the world and trying to make that transition,
Mm.
because you've already been exposed to a lot of these things. So you remember how it feels. You remember your experiences with it. You might even remember partners you've been with. And those are the things that you want to cleanse. You want God to cleanse out of you during that period of self-love. And God will show you, and you will reflect on those things and people that you've attached yourself to and things you've been through, because God won't let you forget. He won't let you forget because it humbles you at the end of the day, because you need it to help. You need it kind of like a blueprint of where I started and why I'm going to where I'm going. So abstinence for me, it's like temporary. I think about, okay, I've had sexual desires. God gives them to you. I mean, the enemy will try to take anything and make it negative and make it just disgusting and perverted. But sex is a beautiful thing that God created for him, for marriage, for the union. When a husband and wife are having sex, that's glorifying God, actually. We need to get this negative view and perverted view of sex like out of our eyesight, because that's what the enemy will do. But when we go outside of that, we pervert it, and that's why we get hurt. We create soul ties that we shouldn't create with people, and that's probably another talk for another time with soul ties.
Yeah.
But we'll stay on topic. But the but the abstinence has allowed me to actually indulge and go into myself and bring out the things that I feel are beautiful about myself, as far as the love I have within myself, the nurturing spirit I have within myself, the self-control that I've learned to have. When you have self-control, that's another level of power that a lot of people don't tap into. Because when you give in to certain things and you feel that conviction, you're like, dang, like I should have done better. Like I shouldn't have did that. I know I had no business going over there. I know I had been just having this person come over. And then when you fall and you beat yourself up for it, but it's because you have that conscience. It's because you know that you deserve better. But a lot of us fall weak to our flesh.
And there's loneliness too. Loneliness really gets at people. And again, it's not doing the work and appreciating the power of self enough to realize that loneliness is just your mental and your body's way of telling you that you're in need of something from you. It's not about being in need of something from somebody else, but we take loneliness as a sign of, I need someone else other than me who doesn't have what I have to really fulfill this thing that is missing inside of me. But that's good enough because it's easier and that's all I know. Right. Which is really, you're shorting yourself. You know what I mean? And it's okay if you don't know any better, because that's the popularized opinion and mindset. But when you're lonely, it's about you. It's about something that you're not living up to for yourself, that you need to do better at. Being lonely is never about another person.
Right. And then you come to a point where you have to ask yourself, why do I feel lonely? Why do I feel like I need this other person to come in and fill me? And don't get me wrong, two is better than one. God wants us to be in relationship. But a lot of times we don't deal with ourselves, and we use other people to distract us from ourselves.
That's the part. And we do not think of it that way, that we are using other people to distract you from doing the work and fulfilling what you need to with self.
Yes.
That's not what we're seeing and thinking. But we're using each other when we venture off to find someone in our lonely times, or we dial up someone, or we just need to, and it's especially for the pleasures of flesh, like that type of loneliness it stems from something else completely. Like urges are real, and like you said, God they're there, like they're within our body. We're sexual beings and creatures and all of that. But that mentality that anyone will do, yeah, we got to stop that.
And the thing is, like, even going back to self-love, when you start to love yourself, you'll learn how to love other people. And when you think about it, our flesh is selfish. Your flesh does not care about you getting hurt. Your flesh doesn't care about your convictions. And it doesn't care about what damage is going to get caused from whatever it leads you to do, which is why we have to always fight our flesh, go against our flesh. Our flesh is always going to go against the spirit. And when I say that, when our flesh is selfish, if you want to love yourself and learn how to really, truly love other people, especially someone you're trying to connect yourself with, you don't want to use your flesh to manipulate them. Because in a way, if you haven't healed from what you were trying to heal from, and say you get with this person and they trigger those things within you, you're going to make it look like they hurt you because you didn't get fulfilled from whatever expectation you put on that person, but it wasn't them to begin with.
Yeah.
They just pushed triggers that were already there, and now you're painting this person like they're a bad person. They came in, they hurt me, they made me feel this and that, but it really wasn't them, it was you.
Right, it was always your responsibility. You knew, they didn't know. It's your job. It's your job to protect you. It's your job to know you. It's your job to identify with who you are, what you really need, what isn't good for you, and what to test. That's your job. Like, it's just, you're born alone and you die alone. You're only ever going to be responsible for yourself, ever. I don't care if you're married. I don't, you have kids. There's only so much you can do. But for self, you can do everything and anything. It's up to you. You just have to pay attention and love yourself enough to do the work and know better.
Yes. And know that your body is a temple. So, and I'm going to talk to women, I know there are men on here too, but, I can speak from a woman's perspective. You have to love yourself enough to value your body. If you think about it, if you're going to have sex, you're taking in another human being, a man. You're taking in whatever spirit they have, whatever things they struggle with, whoever they've been with, whoever they, whatever's going on with them, you're taking all of that into your body. That's like opening a portal to your body. And God forbid this person isn't, toxic and all this, and they're the person that, maybe you were supposed to be with, but a lot of times it's not. And you're taking in everything from them. And then you wonder, why am I dealing with depression? I've never been depressed. Listen, why am I dealing with anger?
I heard this quote once, and it was about abstinence. It's for a woman. You wouldn't take a shot if you didn't know what was in there.
Right.
Is it different? Like, I was just like, ooh, yeah, you're not just gonna go pick out a needle and, whatever's in the syringe be like, cool. Like, that's
like, I'm gonna just go ahead and try it out. Whatever happens, happens.
We don't do that, but we do that.
We do. It's like playing Russian roulette. Like, hey, I'm just gonna try to see, just because I want that temporary fulfillment, or I think this person feels some kind of way, or they love me, so this is the way I'm gonna give them love, which is totally incorrect. And that's one thing we need to stop doing, is using our bodies to achieve love. It's not gonna happen.
No,
it's not gonna happen.
And I definitely, on my journey, found that out for myself. At the end of my marriage, we grew apart, to make a very long story short. But, it's hard to let go, because when you're married, and it's like no one gets married to get divorced. But, I say all that to say, our sexual encounters just were not good. Like, I didn't feel, he was any more deserving of me anymore. And it was just because it was my job. I'm your wife. Right. I have to. And it wasn't, there was no love in it anymore at all. And when I tried to date and find what I liked, had sex with, friend, but it just wasn't, I learned about myself. I can't lie down if I'm not in love. It does me no good. It doesn't, it feels like a job. It feels like I'm wondering what he got from this,
Right.
Don't blame the guys. Anybody who has a smart mouth, don't say they didn't know what they was doing. No, it's never been right. Like that. It's just who I am. I've always realized I am opening myself up to these other people, literally, spiritually, figuratively, emotionally. Right. And it was hard to do. I couldn't do it, in an authentic way if I wasn't in love. It hit different, when you're in love. And I want all women to experience, sex at that height, at that 10. You know what I mean? Like, not, everybody doesn't deserve you, and you deserve so
Right.
much better. That's just
Right.
to all my sisters. You deserve
Right.
to feel like you're treasured, and it shouldn't be that easy. It shouldn't be
Right.
that easy. You're magic, you're a diamond, you're a jewel, you're a treasure. So it's just, you know, I want all women to feel that love. And that's just me and my sisterhood, women's empowerment.
Yeah, no,
I
most
want them
definitely.
all just feel that know your worth, and understand, through self-love, that you deserve everything you say you deserve.
Right.
If you say you deserve everything, you deserve it. Period.
Right.
Because that's where the empowerment comes in. That's self empowerment is being unapologetically correct in what you say you deserve, and
Right.
not stepping back from it, and never stepping down from it.
Right. And then I want to touch on this. I'm not sure if the ladies are thinking about this question, because you said, you want to make sure, when you lay down with this person, you feel loved. A lot of women don't know what love is, which is why it goes back to self-love. Because women will be like, I
Mm-hmm.
thought he loved me, so I gave my body to him, and I found out it was something different. But love is so true and genuine, and only the one who created it, which is Christ, can teach you about it.
Yeah.
And you'll just know. God will give you that discernment, especially about men. He will give you a discernment. And I can be cliche right now, if I can just say black and white. Wait for the marriage room for sex. I know it's easy to say, but a lot of people will be like, how do I wait? How do I be patient? How do I cultivate myself and wait for that, and know that I'm not just going to get married and then all of a sudden there's no love there, there's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, God will keep his word, he will keep his promise, and he'll give you discernment, and he'll lead you to the one that you're supposed to be with, and
I
he'll make sure you're fulfilled.
I believe that, because we as women have strong intuition, and I challenge any woman who is about to put herself in that compromising position to walk away if there's even a glitch of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm compromising. And I mean, he not looking at you the way you want him to look at you. He not touching you the way you want him to touch you. He ain't called you as much as you want him to call you. Stop compromising. Stop
Right.
letting society tell you that you're being too hard on these men, or everything is not going to be the way you want it to be, and it's not going to be. Sure it is.
It will.
Sure it
Faith,
is.
faith,
They
believe
have
it.
to earn you. They have to
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be here. They got to earn their place. If you have any hint of, well, that's not that bad, don't do it.
Right. Anytime you got to mention something about that person and say, but I like them, but
Yeah, all of that. That is your intuition. That is what it is. And
mm-hmm.
society wants us to believe that we want too much. That we
Right.
want too much, because we know our worth and what we deserve, and that's what starts, cutting us down at
Mm-hmm.
our self-worth, because we compromise over and over again for jobs, and for the man, the
Right.
love, because we want to be chosen, and we forgot that we choose.
Right. And you got to think about yourself, like, are you deserving of even touch, not even just entering my body? Are you deserving of touching my body? Are you deserving
Do
of
you
knowing
deserve to be
me
in
in
the
that
same
vulnerable
room with
way?
me? Do you deserve for me to? You want my number though? Do you deserve for me to reply? Okay, can we?
Right.
I don't
Are you deserving of my time?
listen, because I am a phenomenal, exceptional, everything human being, and I don't know if you know that about you, and I don't need you trying to suck me dry,
Right.
mentally, physically, and
Draining you.
emotionally, because people people, they will try to steal your light. They really will,
Mm-hmm.
because they see it in you, and they want it for themselves, and they don't know how to get it, and they're not doing their work, and that's how they get it, because energy
Mm-hmm.
is like that.
Yes, and they're drawn to you like a lighthouse. They're like, she's glowing. I want to go over there and see what's going on with her. What's making her so happy? I want to go. interrupt her piece real quick. I want
Real
some of that.
quick. Let me get some of that. Literally, some of
Yes.
that. It's more than your body. It's something about you. They know you know better, but you're willing to compromise. And you don't know
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're doing because
Mm-hmm.
society told you that sometimes, you gotta give a little.
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm, I ain't
It's
about
not, you shouldn't have to compromise. But I do want to point out, especially for women, if you are on your self-love journey, we have to work on our attitudes. We have to work on our response to certain things. If the attitude is nasty, I feel like the self-love is like, it's pointless.
because why is your attitude nasty? It's like,
Exactly.
what? Why? How come? Is it because you don't deserve? I can say everything that I just said. Anybody could think that I am very arrogant or stuck up or whatever, but I said it with a smile. That's just, I don't have to have an attitude about knowing I deserve everything because that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give. So, do
Mm-hmm.
you deserve to be here? Oh, okay. Well, just bye.
Right. And like I said, God is going to humble you. So he's not going to let you forget what he pulled you out of. So when you have memories of who you've been with or situations you've been in or a divorce you went through, anything like that, you've experienced it. So it's going to humble you. And then you learn from that and you learn this is what I want and this is what I don't want. This is what I want to experience myself with and this is what I don't want to go through. So it's healthy boundaries. It's just having healthy boundaries. It's not being conceited, cocky, and she's just all this. No. And then, like you said, it's how you say it. But you're like, I love me so much that I know what me deserves. I know what I've put in the work for. I know what I've been waiting for, being patient and patiently waiting, working on my attitude, working how to respond, working on how to be slow to anger, just, learning not to get offended, you know.
Learning to walk
Women,
away.
yes, walk away, but we always want to, and I'll say this, anytime us women we get offended by some things that men do, it's because we feel that there's some truth to it. Either we haven't dealt with it and we're still harboring over the past or something, especially if that man didn't know anything about it and he happened to say something and then you snap at him for something, and it's because of something deep rooted bitterness that you haven't dealt with yourself. So and women might ask this, how do you know, you're growing in your self-love journey and you may be whole and you're ready for a relationship? When you no longer take offense to things, you no longer let things bother you. And maybe when they ask you why do you want a relationship, the response, like for me, if someone were to ask me, Lorraine, why do you want to be married? I want to be married because I want to come in a union with someone. And like I said, I'm big in ministry and all that. I want someone to get in this battle with me and just do the things for the kingdom. I want my relationship to glorify the kingdom. But if I want to get more into detail and bring it down to everyone's level, I want someone that I can pour into. I want to see who I am now as this whole person in full self-love, because when I was partial, I was toxic. But I want to see who I am now, who God has created now, who I am in this season. I want to see how she loves. I want to see the fruit that she could pour into someone and see them blossom too, and see how they respond to this new Leroy and this new creature that God's created. Like, I'm ready to put her to the test. So I'm eager. I'm excited. So I'm excited to put this new love and pour it into someone else and to see how it comes together. It's like a project, but it's just like, man, I saw the toxic version. I want to see the healthy version.
No, I agree, and that's what happens when you don't allow your past to cripple you. When you learn something,
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way. When I was going through my divorce, it was people like, would you ever get married again? Oh yes. Before the ink was,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It was like, well, like really? I was like, oh my, I didn't look how well I did this first time. Like it didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to go past where it did. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a bitter, messy, hateful. That's still like one of my best friends in the world. We have kids together and we have all this history and found it family for life. It
Mm-hmm.
just, we grew apart. We started so young and we had to turn into the people, we had to grow into the people we are today, and we can no longer do that together. That's all. And now I'm me. I'm all the way me. I
Right.
never got to be all the way me before. I was always me and he, me and the babies, me and, you know, I've had the time, and I was dope then, but now I'm,
Woo! And,
listen,
you know, I think that's beautiful because there might be a lot of women on here that have kids. I don't have kids, but I can speak from being a single person without kids, being on my self-love journey. But some women might have questions like, how do you find your self-love and that time to work on yourself if you have children? And that would be my question for you. How did you find it?
I found it, being completely honest, my daughter was getting older, and I was raising her to be a wonderful person, human being with values and morals. And I wasn't pouring into her as if she was going to be a woman one day. And I realized that. And I realized I wasn't walking through life as a woman. I was walking through life as a person. But I'm a woman. And I just wanted to own that in its entirety where I was. It was like I stopped one day, and like right where I stood, like with my feet like firmly planted on the ground, I realized everything I was from where I had been and where I wanted to go. And I wanted it like for real, for real. I don't know any other way to articulate that, but I just really wanted to own who I was. I wanted her to own who she was becoming, and she didn't have an example. So for me,
Yeah.
because I had her 3 months after I turned 19. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was never just me. I never grew into me. I was always shared. I was always a wife, a mother in my womanhood. And I realized I wasn't in my womanhood. I was in my motherhood. I was firmly in my motherhood. I was firmly in being a wife. My name was Mom and Wife, Mrs. Dot, dot, dot. I didn't have a name. And I just wanted to be the woman I was. And I just stopped and looked around and started paying attention and owning who I was and being proud of where I've been and walking in the direction that I wanted to go. I just had to, sometimes it comes down to making a choice, you know? We don't always get to choose, but when you get to choose, be empowered and stand firmly in it and walk forward. I've never been bitter because I appreciate everything I've ever gone through because I learned something. I am everything I am right now in my empowerment. And, you know, as busy as I am as a mom of three, it's not just for me. It's for me first now, but it's still for them. So I start looking at it that way. Like, how am I going to expect and want and wish and pray and dream of them owning who they are?
Right.
And I'm
That's
not doing
beautiful.
it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I just,
I also want to add, as we're having this conversation, it's a really great, dope conversation. I've been seeing some of the comments, and they're saying these are things that, you know, women, we need to talk about. We need to be open and transparent about. And I do want to open the floor for anyone that's in this live. Ask some questions. We're going to continue. If you guys love this conversation, we're going to go ahead and continue. But go ahead and post some questions in there, and then we'll answer some of the questions that come up. But yes, and I think that's beautiful, you know, coming from your perspective, you know, with children, because a lot of people can't find that time to get alone and work on themselves because they're always shared, they're always giving themselves, especially, and you got 3 babies. So so you're here, and here, and you're just like, okay, let me help with homework, but let me make sure I work on myself too, you know. So, and I think like we are like super women, you know. We can do anything and everything, you know. Anything we could put our mind to, we can do. But I will speak for those that are single and don't have children. You know, it's not easier because we don't have children. Because a lot of times when we spend a lot of time by ourselves, it can be in a way, it could hinder us. you know, from actually getting out there and learning more about ourselves, because we get distracted. Maybe you're a working woman, you just work, 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 work. Right. Or you go out, or you indulge in activities and do certain things because you can, because you don't have little people to look after. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to fulfill your time with, you know, maybe you're going out to clubs, maybe you're hanging out with your friends all the time, maybe you're binge watching TV shows, you know, or you're at work all the time. You're just always busy, and you never really stop to really think about you and work on you and what's going on with you. And don't let me even put it out there, like even more, like with single people, I feel like it's even more enticing to go out and connect yourself with toxic relationships, or just be in someone's presence just to make the time go by.
Right, time.
You know, you're like, oh, I'm bored, or I'm gonna Netflix and chill. Here, let me call someone. It's just that easy. Or let me text an old faithful, hey, come over, I'm bored. But you're not gonna tell them that's what they're there for. So I feel like, you know, the single non-parenting life has its issues, but also I know there's a lot of things going on with mothers and their kids and trying to find that time too. So everybody has their own battles. Mm-hmm. So like I said, it is hard, you know, being a single, you know, and not having children, and having to really work on yourself, because you can get very distracted with everything the world has to offer you right now, especially if you're, and don't let me get into how women, we view ourselves, we try to compete with other women, we try to look a certain way. And don't let me get into, you know, we'll spend 2 hours, you know, flipping through social media, looking at certain things, looking at YouTube, reposting videos, laughing at stuff, and, you know, we're critiquing ourselves. You know, all the women, they're changing their bodies up, they're filling the lips, all that. They're like, but a lot, I mean, if you get to the root, and I know this conversation is kind of going another direction, but let's let it. You know, the root of that is we're not being happy with who we are, and we're not accepting ourselves as we are. And we feel we need to compete with other women, or compete. Basically, you do this for a man. I don't care what any woman say. They be like, well, I do this for me. I want to look good for me. For what? Because this is what men find attractive.
That part, and it's because if you really break it down and you ask honestly to the first woman who said, no, I like this body type. Why? You know, you think it look good because them being men, are responding to it. That's just the truth. I don't like it either. I don't like the way that sounds either, but that's just the truth. Mm-hmm. The white man standard for beauty,
right?
Black man adopts, mm-hmm. and it changes depending on the decade or in what's trending. Who's the next or the current, you know, big deal body type, and that's what it's based off of. We are attracted to what men like in us, and mm-hmm. it's I don't like it. Like I just really, it's hard to say, because I know
it is, because it's the truth.
It's true though. Like if there's not, like, because women being that all the love and nurture that we have and share, if we were really thinking with our own minds completely untainted, we think everything is beautiful. Mm-hmm. You know, we're Mother Nature. Like it all looks good to us, but something has to be on top, and mm-hmm. we let them choose. And I say let, because I do believe now we're in the age of, if we stuck together and pulled together more, we're doing better. But if we really did, they wouldn't stand a chance. Right. I'm sorry. I really do believe that. Like, it's just, but we have a lot to learn, and there's a lot to undo there, you know? So it's just, I'm being graceful with, you know, all my sisters, and how far we have to go, and appreciating how far we've come, because we have.
Right. And I've learned with going back to self-love, the more you love yourself and allow God to love you, you're going to glow in your own individual way that's going to separate you from the rest. Yeah. You don't have to fix all the exterior stuff, because God is going to put certain things within you that you walk in your empowerment and that you glow with. And then people be like, like, who's that girl over there? Or there's something about her. Even maybe the fruit that God pours in you, the meekness, the forgiveness, the joyfulness is so much more beautiful than the things that we can do on the outside. And people are drawn to that. Especially
Yeah.
and ladies, if you're trying to get that men love that stuff. They don't mention it because they're such visual
You know that
creatures.
that's a scientific fact. Like men are
Mm-hmm.
attracted to a woman's pheromones. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
we've always known that. Like because they're all different. Like a woman's light is like fingerprints. It's all
Mm-hmm.
different.
Mm-hmm.
All different.
And you tap into that, woo! I would say on my journey, like I just opened the door about 2 months ago to being open to dating, and it's different than what it was before I made my transition into just who I am now. It's just like it's different, but you feel like you have options. You feel like, I was talking to my girls the other night. They're like, you picky. And I'm like, no, I just got standards now. Because I didn't have them back then. It was just, he could just have a cute smile and then, we can go ahead and hook up or connect.
That part. You got to be okay with being alone, and you got to be okay with being hurt. You got to be okay with being disappointed, to be open and put yourself out there. But with all that being said, you're not supposed to expect to be disappointed. You're not supposed to
Right.
expect to be alone, and you're not supposed to expect to not get what you want. You just know it happens because everyone's on their own journey, and they might not be as far along as you. And you have to say goodbye. You have to be ready to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You constantly have to be ready to walk away, not run, not shut the doors, not hide. Just you pass them along.
Yes,
it's a journey.
But it's like, do the work, and ladies, if you want that man, that good man, you have to be who you want. If you want that good man, trust me, you're going to have to show everything you want to see in him, you need to have within you.
Yes, and that's the part about not wanting something you're missing inside of you in another person, because it is never going to be enough. It will never be enough. You can't say, I love you because you're so different than me. You're everything I'm not. Well, what about when you become that? You're not going to love him no more.
Right. You're going to be like,
you set me
I ain't attracted to this no more.
Like, oh no, don't do that. He a good man. Don't do him like that.
Right. But if you have love in you, you will attract love.
Right.
You will attract love. Now, don't get me wrong. You will attract hurt people. But it's for you to use that discernment, because God's going to bring you people in your life. We have to understand as women, God doesn't bring every man in your life for him to be your Boaz. Just because he come, don't mean that's my man. That's my man right there. Like, God brings people for a season for a reason.
That's society too, though. Like, if a good man come along who got a few issues and you pass him by, like he wasn't the one, that's not what you were willing to accept, you will have people who are not negative people, but people who just don't know no better. People who have listened to society tell you that was a good man. You just because of that, that's why you have to stand firm and be like, yeah, that's why I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Or you're too picky. You're too picky, girl. You better get that man.
You be picky while you single instead of picking somebody and being picky with them. That's backwards.
Yes. Now that will cause hurt and damage.
Yes.
And you could possibly hurt that person.
People do that just to not be alone. You know you picky and you like, all right, I'll work. And then you get with these
get with them and pick them apart.
And you pick them apart. Like, that's not.
You'd be like, maybe we could change this right here. Like, no. I don't like how he eat on the left side of his mouth. No. It's just like, but we do that. We do that
out of loneliness. Yeah, like if you love yourself enough, your loneliness will be your reminder to tap back into you a little bit more.
That's and protecting your peace. And I made a post the other day, and I'm just like, singleness is beautiful, but remember, this is the last time that you are going to be able to make decisions without considering another person. if I want to spend my money here, if I want to make this investment, if I want to make these moves, if I want to make, if I want to get these insurance plans, if I want to do this for me, I don't have to answer to nobody else right now. I want to have my stuff ready and ready to go and make these decisions. But when you consider another person, their input is you can't be like, nah, you can't tell me this. You can't.
50-50. You can't say you want a partner and don't be ready to be in a partnership.
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
You have to know what you have to give and what you really want and what your expectations are and what you need to have a good relationship. And when you receive that and you find that and you take the plunge, grow, but don't add to your list of things you need in a person and do yourself and that person a disservice. It's okay to take your time to get to know what is really going to be good for you in your life and your journey moving forward in a partnership than to jump into one and cut that person down and set yourself back.
Right. And remember, God doesn't allow you to build yourself up so you can tear other people down just because they haven't gone through the process yet and they're not where you feel you are and they don't measure up. And that's another big thing before we're getting into these relationships. There has to be equally yoked. There has to be, if you see this person has done the work just like you, then okay. But don't pick someone just because you feel that they're a project or you can fix them or you can change them because you're already failing from there. You're already going to put them in a position where they can possibly resent you because you didn't accept them where they were at or who they are. And you feel you're just on your high horse and then did all the work. And I'm going to help them do the work because I've done the work, but you can't do that. If you are interested in that man and you see that there are some things that he needs to work on, it's okay with still having that friendship. I mean, so many people are afraid of the friend zone nowadays, but for me personally, if I put a man in the friend zone, I think you need to take that with like, oh, I'm in there. Because if I consider you a friend, that means I consider you a possible candidate, partner that I can actually like see your growth and build with you in this way from a distance without intertwining with you in intimate ways that will lock me in. And now all of a sudden I see you from a different light because you're not who I want you to be fully.
Right.
So it's okay to stay at a distance and allow that person to grow and be who you want them to be. It's okay. I don't know why people think it's not okay.
I think it's always a beautiful thing and very flattering when you decide to keep someone in your life. If they don't get to sit in that first chair, that's cool. I want you to be my friend. My friends are important to me.
Right.
Like this term friend zone has such a comical negative like undertone.
It does.
But in life, especially when you get in your 30s, you choose your friends wisely. Right. So you're my friend. Congratulations.
But they get offended by that. And if there's any fellas and in the chat room, especially women, we're in our 30s now, getting there. I'm 31. But if I friend zone you, that is a good thing. It is such a beautiful thing because that means I want to see you as a friend. I want to know that this person that I'm going to get into a relationship with, I actually like being a friend to them. Are they a friend to me? Are they supportive? Are they everything a friend should be even before I see you as a partner?
Yeah. Because
go ahead.
Most of the best relationships are relationships that have a history. And a lot of times that history is a friendship. Like we knew each other for many years before we even went on our first date. And those are the couples you see. It's like y'all are best friends. Yeah, we've been best friends longer than we've been a couple. That's beautiful. That's called a foundation, people.
Right.
Like that is good. Houses are built on that. Buildings.
Right.
Like that's not a bad thing. Like it's just, we take words and we make them funny, we make them jokes. Like the friend zone is not a negative thing. A friend zone if a man is in the friend zone from the right woman, I mean, she working on herself and she hoping you doing the same.
Now, I'm not going to play and act like the friend zone wasn't used for negativity back in the day.
That's high school. But that's what I'm saying. But that's so high school. In high school, when you friend zone somebody, you have no interest. But you
But you
like,
still have women who do that. They still will friend zone a man because they're either not attracted to him or they want him to be the fallback if the other person is not giving them
oh, that
attention.
makes me sad. That's
It's
so
but we're all been guilty of it. But I'm just saying, for me personally, as a whole woman now, if a man is in my friend zone, you are like, that is good. That's a golden ticket right there.
I would that's what I would think so. Like the friend zone is like, listen, you want to sit where my friends sit? That's a good seat.
You want to be that person I talk to or I hit up, or we can go get coffee, or we can just talk and we can
Yeah,
hang
like you
out.
want to be a part of my routine. You want to be like, that's a good. I don't. I have a boyfriend, so I don't have anybody in the friend zone. But like, I wasn't opposed to having friendships when I was doing the work on myself, and I was, you know, after me and my kid's father split. Like, I had a lot. Like, guys didn't want to be in the friend zone. It was like, "Are you seeing anybody? No, but we could be friends." What kind of friends? That would literally be the response I would get,
Right.
and I would be like,
A different definition of what friends mean, but then we can't get upset with men for asking that question, because women will sleep with the men in their friend zone and
yeah,
still be like, oh, we're just friends.
yeah. So, but that
So
was always the
I
turn
see
off
where it
to
comes
me.
from.
That was always the turn off for me. Just, I mean, it's just crazy.
But but for right now, like, as we're in our self-love journey, we're growing as women, and we are just cultivating all of what God is pouring in. If you're in the friend zone, you better take that. You better take that. That's where you want to be, is what I want to say. That's where you want to be. That means you got the number. That means we could talk anytime we need to, or whatever. And we're growing chemistry. We're growing, and I'm going, for me personally, if I friend zone that man, I'm going to consider you somebody that I may be interested in. Because that means if you're a friend to me, I see you different now than anybody else.
Yeah.
That means I'm going to give you my time. That means I'm going to support you in any way that I can. And that means that that door can possibly be open, and I can feel vulnerable with you, and I can trust you. And at the end of the day, you're not going to trust somebody that you're not vulnerable with.
Right. And like, let's remember, a good friend is hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care how grown you are, how old you get, no one wants to lose their best friend. That's like
Mm-hmm.
something that starts from elementary to grade school, kindergarten. No one wants to lose their best friend. So it's like, if I'm friend zoning you and you know that I'm working on myself and I'm just not dating right now, and you really are my friend and you become that for me and I'm that for you, that's a strong bond. It's
It
a very
is.
strong bond. And it always has been. So people need to quit sleeping on the friend zone. Like that's just
I
my
know.
that's
But
what
we
it is.
also need to stop abusing it.
True,
Let
and
it
that's
be
why
what's
I'm
supposed
looking
to
at you
be.
because I did not know women in their 30s was still. I did not know
Women
that. I
still,
thought that was high
it's
school.
because the toxicity, we're not working on ourselves. That's what's going on. So, if you're
God,
gonna if you're gonna friend zone a man, be his friend for real. Be his
please.
friend for real. Don't tiptoe and tease him and tell him to come over late at night and we gonna do these things, but we just come. We know what we are doing.
Oh my God, that is awful. I can't. I cannot. That's happening. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Wrong.
when you have not worked on yourself, you don't care who you hurt, girl.
She said not the
She said that
30s.
that's Chinese. It happens. There are some toxic women that are still in their 30s.
Girl,
It
I
it
didn't know
happens.
neither, girl. I was like,
Women
now when we
still do
grown,
it. Women still do it. They
y'all need
still
to
do
stop.
it.
I need to stop. Oh
Because
Lord.
and the thing is that, like I said, it all goes back to loving ourselves and loving our brethren as well.
Yes.
We can't leave what she said. I appreciate y'all sharing. Yeah. But we have to take into consideration of how we treat people. And we're going to treat people how we treat ourselves. So if you're going to consecrate and grow within yourself and grow like basically your value, that's what you're going to look for in people. But if a woman does not value herself, trust me, she will abuse every man she comes across. Unintentionally abuse.
True. True. And not for nothing, I believe that a lot when it comes to men too. I think more men are more than just doing what they can get away with when they aren't always their best to women. I think sometimes it's an unknowing thing because they don't know their own worth. And they think that, you know, you can treat people like this, not because they're a man and that's just a woman, but because they feel people are expendable because that's how they feel about themselves.
Yeah, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. Just as much as women are still toxic in their 30s, men are just as toxic in their 30s. Cause and to the point, and I don't know if it's wrong to say this. Why do you think a lot of us haven't been settled down earlier, men and women? Because we go through the exposures of the world and we're stained from the things that we've experienced, and we're just not whole like we should be. Because trust me, if we were all whole, everybody would be finding somebody to get with and be with and
agree
grow
with
from
that.
there.
I absolutely agree with that. I've come across that in my relationship coaching sessions with clients a lot. People who have issues with their mate and they have these expectations and they want what they want and then they get it but they don't want it that way because they have traumas. They don't know what their triggers are. They've been through life and they've experienced things and they never came to realize how it's affecting them today. They just moved on physically and not, you know, emotionally and mentally. So, you know, they're handicapped and they don't even know it. And their newer partners are suffering because they don't have any information. They don't have the materials to pass, you know? So it's just one of those things where you have to be mindful of you and your walk, where you've gone and where you're going. You know, you can't even pick the route if you don't know where you are. If you take out a map or your GPS, the first thing GPS asks you is from current location. Like you have to know where you are, you know, and you have to know where you've been to pick a path.
See
Know
where
where you're
you're going.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's, and like I said, that's a beautiful thing. And ladies, if you are seeing that you're getting the same result from relationships that you're going to, one of the main rules in self-love is to stop in your tracks and get in alignment with yourself and figure out who I am and what things I need to work on. Because a lot of things that we struggle with, we always go from relationship to relationship to relationship, new person, new person, new person, new person. And we're just going. We're just going and we're picking up more damage. We're picking up more experiences and we won't just stop where we're at. Work on what we need to work on. And then it's like aiming at something. If you're just throwing shots everywhere, it's just like, you're wasting energy, you're wasting time. But if you get precise and get self and get everything in alignment and you hit that target, you're going to hit that target and you're going to get everything you want to get out of who you want to get it from. But if you're just shooting blanks at everybody until you think you're going to hit the right person, you're just expending yourself and you're just going to run yourself dry doing that. Excuse me.
That's you're going to be depleted. You're going to be exhausted.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are working off of, exhaustion. And then after they get exhausted, after going after this person, this person, this person, this person, then they get bitter. Then they say, you know what? There are no good men out there.
Yeah, and then that's the thing to say, because what you've been through, that means you've been everywhere for some reason in your mind. But you know, it's just because of how big the hurt and disappointment feels in your body and in your
and it's the approach at the end of the day. And it is a promise, but it is, you have to do the work on you, and you will have that discernment to choose. And I said choose. You have options who you want to be with and the things you want to see in that person and get from them. But if you're just, not dealing with your issues and you're just trying to hopefully blindly, it's like choosing someone with your eyes closed and be upset when you open your eyes and get what you get.
Listen, and you gotta take it home. Like, no, you said this is what you pointed, so this is what you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And
don't
then get with it and not satisfied. And you're like, I don't think I want this no more. But that's not how you treat people.
Yeah.
You just can't pick up people and drop them and be like, I just don't want it. But that's how come you have to be precise and intentional about what you're doing, especially if you want to be in a relationship.
Because hurt people, and you're acting like a hurt person. And
Mm-hmm.
you're making yourself the victim because they didn't do what you wanted them to, but you didn't know what you wanted because you don't know how you feel, where you've been, where you are, where you're going.
Exactly.
Just chill and reflect. Love yourself enough to be as patient with you as you would want someone else to be.
Right. And compassion. Compassion goes a long way too.
Yeah, it really does. Like, you wouldn't want somebody to get with you and call you by someone else's name. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know yourself. Know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Or get with you and expect you to be like that last person that they were with. Because they hadn't moved on or fully got that healing from that situation.
Right. Or worse, not do anything the last person did, because they're still they're triggers from their trauma. Like the way you chew and turn your back and when you get into bed at night, that's what she used to do.
Mm-hmm. Are you acting just like so and so?
Yeah, like all of that is because, okay, honey, you need to heal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, and this talk was very needed. And thank you for all the comments.
we
I
should
know
do it again.
Yes, we need to. Like, these things need to be like spoken about amongst women, and we need to hold ourselves accountable too.
Yeah, we
Um,
do.
I
But we should
never.
get somebody else on. How many people can we get on here at once?
I think it's 4.
Oh, we should have a panel.
Yes. And make the next talk, we can be like, hey, you guys send your request in if y'all want to get in on this conversation.
So
Definitely.
you go ahead and you set that up. And
Yes, I can. But we can continue this because we need to talk about this. We need to, it releases something in the atmosphere of like healing.
Get a male too.
Yeah, we can get a man in on it too.
Look, 1 male, 3 female. No, I'm just playing.
Let's gang up on them. Let's tear them apart. Let's pick them apart. That's right. But yes, but it is always healthy to have a male perspective too in on it. It really is about how men feel about certain situations. But yes, we're definitely gonna keep this going, and we're gonna plan another talk, and y'all be ready for the next one because let us know. Send your request, and we'll let you in, and we'll go ahead and we'll discuss further. We can talk more about self-love. We can talk more about toxic relationships. We can talk more about healing or what men and women do, but we just need to start loving each other. Not only loving ourselves, but loving each other. At the end of the day.
Yes.
Stop manipulating each other. Stop using one another for our own selfish gains, for our flesh. Like, have respect for your brother and your sister. Know yourself so that you don't hurt someone else. Be considerate of how you may treat someone else or come off to someone else because of something you're dealing with. So be self-accountable. And yes, anything else, Miss DeeJanay?
All of that. I agree. You don't know what you have to give until you do the work and understand who you are and your strengths and how to combat your weaknesses. You don't want to get into any kind of relationship dynamic and cheat yourself and short that person because of you're not dealing with what you've gone through and who you are today. Like, it's just do the work. And regardless of if you're going to be in a relationship or you want a relationship or you're in a relationship, you deserve to love yourself better. You absolutely do. Because loving you first and most is the best you'll ever get. And you deserve it.
Yes. But all right, I want to thank everyone who came on tonight. We are going to do this again. You know, you can just check the page and we'll promote it again, and we'll get more people in here. But yes, so I love you guys. Love you too, DeeJanay. Thank you so much for blessing this with your presence tonight.
Oh, listen, if I didn't have to put babies to bed, I would be like, and another thing.
Let's keep this going. Because there's so much that can be talked about. So,
I mean,
definitely.
Listen.
Yes, but okay. So this meeting is adjourned, and we will do this definitely again. And thank you for everyone who came on tonight.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye, you guys.